I hope that it'll be an informative evening for all of you. And just before we start into the presentation proper, just to give you a few house rules. Your camera is turned off, as you're aware, and your mic is also turned off. If you have any questions, you will be able to go into the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, at the top of the screen, and type in your answers there. And Val and I will do our very, very best to answer them for you. Now, the format of the evening will be as follows. I will first be doing the CAO application process. That will be all the things in relation to the process itself, from how to apply, what you need to provide, right up to the offer stage. So that will be CAO applications. I'm hoping that I will cover everything while I'm doing that part of it. But if there's anything I haven't, type it in and we'll answer it very quickly at the end. Then the second part will be covered by Val, who's our access officer, and this is very, very important. This will cover all the things that are essential to going to college, and they will include fees, finance, grants, bursaries, social welfare, and all of that 1916 bursaries and all of the relevant things that you do need to know if you're planning to go ahead and come to us here in the Kerry campus. So with that, I'll just start, and here we are, just go through each slide with you nice and slowly. Thank you very much. Okay, so the first thing I would just want to tell you about here are the courses that we're offering here in Tralee. So as you can see, we have a wide range of courses. We've almost 50 in total, and they range from business, including pure business, event management, food business, a wide range of engineering, civil engineering, mechanical, lots of life sciences in the area of pharmacy, pharmaceutical, wildlife, environmental, agricultural science, veterinary, animal biosciences. In the area of nursing and humanities, again, we have a great range here: social care, early childhood care, nursing, and in the nursing, we offer mental and general nursing, counselling with addiction. And finally, in the area of computing and media, we offer computing with software, games, BA in animation, TV, radio, and new media, higher certificate in computing in network systems. And all of these programs, lots of them start at level 6, and you can work your way right up to a degree, an honours degree, a master's, or even a PhD if you're going to stay with us that long. Okay, so you're obviously thinking about studying here in the MTU Kerry campus. And I'm sure at this stage, there are a few things that are going through your head about what would it be like to be a student here in Tralee. And these are the important things that you need to think about before you make your CAO application. What does the coursework consist of? Well, you will have things like labs and projects, continuous assessments, end of semester exams, and possibly work placement. All our programs now have a work placement element attached to it. Each semester is of 12 weeks duration. You start generally in September, and by the 20th of June in the following year, you've one full academic year completed. So as you can see, it's very short, 12 weeks in each semester, and then your work placement, etc. Okay, so who can assist me then if I'm in trouble? Okay, if you can go to your lecturers, you can go to your class tutor, your department head, student services, admissions, mature student officer, and MTU Students Union. So I suppose I'm just put this slide in here because I want to reassure you, I wanted to give you the layout of how we operate here in Tralee. And if you need any help, you're not alone. We are here to help all the time. Okay, so the first thing you are thinking about doing is you're applying to CAO. And I would say the most important thing that you need to do is your research. And I can't emphasize that enough. It is just so important. First of all, are you actually a mature student? Are you over 23 years of age on the 1st of January? If you are, that's the first box ticked. Now, wasn't that straightforward? So before you start your CAO application, there are lots of things that you do need to do. You need to review the prospectus, whether it's our prospectus here in Tralee or a prospectus in another college. You need to look at it. You need to go through each one, see what areas of interest are there for you. What catches your eye? You need to talk to guidance counsellors and find out about courses. Come to us and talk to us about the courses. Discuss your plans with professionals that are already in the area. For example, if you're thinking about doing something like civil engineering, Do you know anybody that's employed in that area at the moment? Have you talked to them? Have you asked them about the job description and what it entails? Sometimes we have narrow views of what something might entail, and it's only when you start talking to people you realize how broad their area is. Just make sure you do your research. You will find in each college that each college has a prospectus. We have our prospectus here in the MTU Kerry Campus. This is our prospectus, and you will find all the courses listed. We have a lovely window on the inside which lists all the courses and what campus they're located on. So familiarize yourself with that. The final thing I would ask you to do while you're doing your research is ask yourself, how can you project yourself forward? What would you like to be doing? What kind of person are you? Would you be the kind of person that likes working with people? Would you like to be working in a healthcare environment? Or would you prefer to be working behind the scenes? And these are very, very important things that you do have to ask yourself, because you don't want to be committing yourself for 2 or 3 or 4 years working in an environment that will not make you happy. If you're very analytical, you might like working in a laboratory, so you might be interested in the science area. If you like caring for people, you might be interested in working in nursing or social care. If you're business orientated, we have a great number of business programs for you. So just to make sure that you do your own little bit of soul searching before you decide what you want to do. That's really, really important. That's top of the list, I always say to the applicants. Okay, so as we all know, you make your application to the Central Applications Office, and that is www.cao.ie. Now, if you're a little bit nervous about making your application, what I would suggest you do, first of all, is look at the demonstration on the CAO website. That would be of great help to you. You can go into the website and look at their demo and go down through every single aspect of it. And by the time you come to the end of it, you are well able to do your own application. As you can see from here, I have taken this from the CAO website, and it's the details broken down into what you need to do when you're applying as an applicant. So the first thing you will do when you will go into the CAO website is you go into the button where it says apply. Okay. Now, CAO application is broken down into your personal details, your address, your education to date, your courses, and then your personal statement. And I'm going to go through each one of those in detail. You will see from the application where you apply, you put in your surname, your first name, your telephone number, etc. And this is your application. This is the first step that you take. Okay. The next thing you need to do then after that, when you've completed all your personal details, is you put in if you have any academic qualifications. Now, sometimes mature applicants are reticent, I suppose, for want of a better word, for ticking these boxes, because they will often say to us, look, it's 10 years since I did my leaving certificate. Is that of any value? The one thing I will emphasize to you is the leaving cert or the QQI or the hobby course or the minor award or the PLC. Every single one of those is a valuable currency, and every single one of those will be taken into account. So you may be applying only as a mature applicant with no other qualifications. You could be a mature applicant with a leaving certificate, a QQI, other third level education, minor awards, etc. They're all relevant. Tick every single relevant box. That's really, really important for you. Okay. So then after that, you will get your CAO number and you have to create your password. Your password is very, very important, because when you apply to CAO, there will be 2 things that will be unique to you. You will be given a 2022 CAO number, which will be totally unique to you. And in order to access the information on that, you will need to create a password. Put the password somewhere safe. You won't actually be, if you ring CAO and you've lost that password, they won't give it to you. Keep it somewhere safe. Make sure it's something relevant that you can recall yourself. That's really, really important. The other thing before you put in your password is that you also have to make your payment. Now, there are different payments depending on what time of the month you do your payment, you do your application. At the moment, we're in the early bird stage. So the early bird is going on until the 20th of January, and the fee at that time is €35. If you do your application after the early bird closes on the 20th and before the 1st of February, the application cost is €45. CAO then closes for 1 month, and when it reopens on the 5th of March, the cost at that stage is €60 for your application. So just to keep that in mind, it makes no difference to your application, it's just the timing of it. And CAO, to be quite honest, like to get the applications in early, just like all the colleges do. It just makes it easier for everybody. Now, the next thing you'll do is after you've created your application login, is you go into the login here, and this is where you go in and you put in your selection of level 8 courses and level 6 and 7 courses. So just to explain briefly what I mean by the level 8 and level 6 and 7. A level 8 is a 4-year honours degree program. A level 7 is a 3-year degree program. And a level 6 is a higher certificate. On your level 8, which you'll meet first of all, you have 10 choices where you can list up to 10 level 8 programs. And again, with the level 7 and level 6s, you can also list up to 10 course choices on each. Now, I've put this in red. This is where your research comes in, because it would be expected here that you would list each choice in order of preference. So, for example, if you wanted to do nursing as your first preference at level 8, that would be number 1. And if you wanted to do engineering, civil engineering, your second preference on level 8, that is level 2, and so on and so on. But sometimes you can play very clever indeed. And if you also want to put down a number of level 7 programs that are very different to the level 8, you can include those your first preference on your level 7. So say, for example, if you wanted to do business studies, put down your first choice of business studies as level 7 and put down your second choice as social care. So it is very possible then that you may be eligible and you'll get an offer of both. So this way it's possible that you'll be offered your favorite level 8 and your favorite level 7, or your highest preference level 8 and your highest preference level 7. And the choice is up to you then to decide, do I want to go the nursing route or do I want to go the business route if I'm offered my first preference in both? Or do I want to go the civil engineering route or the social care route if I'm offered my second preference in both? The choice is yours. So that's why I would say to you again, and I always emphasize it, do your research, make sure you know what you're doing and work on it from there and put down your correct choices. Okay. Now, what additional information will you need to send to CAO? Okay, or will you need to fill out? And again, getting back to the leaving certificate, some people may not have it to hand. They can get their leaving certificate from their previous school, or alternatively, they can get onto the state examination. You may not have a leaving certificate, but you may have a PLC. You might be currently studying. You might have other post-secondary education or second level education. You might have done what we used to call hobby courses or non-certificate courses. You might have put down employment or voluntary work. Now, you might say, why do CAO want to know about voluntary work? It's very, very easy and very elementary. If, for example, you're applying for social care or early childhood care, have you done any work in the community? Have you done any voluntary work? If you're applying for health and leisure, have you worked with any clubs? Have you any related employment? We'd often find we would get people in that are working in an area but do not have the qualifications, which prohibits, advancement in their career, and they want to come into us and they want to get their qualification. Make sure you put all of those down. They're very important points. Fill each one of those. The next thing they will look for, if English is not your first language, put down, you have to provide the documentation, tick the box if it's not your first language. And you provide 2 references. Number 9, the statement of interest or the personal statement. This is really, really, really important. And I'm going to go through this in the next slide. They look for your hobbies and interests. And again, this is just to show what kind of person you are. Are you a person that's out there in the community, or are you a person that's working in the background? Just fill out all of those details. They will also look for things like if you have any additional qualifications or academic awards like your QQI or your FETAC. If you have not been living in Ireland or an EU country for less than 5 years, they will need proof of that. And they will also need proof of your residency or your stamp 4. These are all very important things. Okay, your statement of interest or your personal statements. What I always say to applicants about this is as follows. This is like you coming into me and sitting in front of me here now, and you're doing an interview. And I'm saying to you, tell me, John, about yourself, or tell me, Jane, what has led you to apply for this course? What has influenced you? What are your interests? What do you hope to get out of this? Where can you see yourself in the future? What do you want to do? So it is really, really important that you think about this and make sure we know what has decided you to think about applying for this course or these courses. Have you any skills in that area at the moment? Have you worked in the area? Have you done anything in a voluntary nature, or have you done any unpaid work? As I say, treat it like an interview. Mention your interest, demonstrate your skills. If you've done anything like, hobbies or professional, have you any personal achievements? For example, if you're currently applying as a mature applicant, again, for health and leisure, have you excelled in any area of sports that you'd like us to know about? What are your future plans? What are you thinking about doing once you've finished this course? So it's very important to show that you have clear goals and you know where you're going and you know what this course is going to lead you to. So as I say, treat the personal statement as a platform for the information you're going to give us as if you were coming in for an interview. That's really, really important. Okay. So what documents do you need to send to CAO then when you're doing your to support your application? Obviously, anything that you have mentioned in your application, you need to send a photocopy of that, a certified photocopy to CAO. You need to send this to them within 10 days of applying. And the most important thing when you're doing this is with your individual number that CAO have assigned you, your 2022 number, you will put that on top of every sheet of paper that you're sending to CAO. That's really important because CAO will mark up your application form and they'll scan it to go with the online application that you have completed. So the documentation that you are unable to submit to CAO, that will be things like, for example, if you want to send transcripts of results, if English isn't your first language, any supplementary information, for example, again, getting back to what I would call the interview question. Did you not have enough room on your application? Is there more you'd like us to know about you? If there is, type away, attach it, and send it off to CAO. This is really important. The other thing I would say to you, if you're sending your documentation to CAO, supplementary information, make sure that you get certificate of postage from OnPost, just to confirm that it did go within the time frame. CAO must receive that within 10 days of your application. All goes to all the posts. CAO, as you know, is located in Galway. So don't send them any originals, send them certified copies. That's really, really important. We in Tralee can certify the copy for you in the campus, or you can go to your local Garda station, or you can go to a peace commissioner. Anybody at all like that will stamp it and certify it for you. Send your supporting document off to the Central Applications Office, Tower House, Eglinton Street, Galway. And that's important. And within the 10 days as specified. This year, we're also doing advanced entry into CAO. So if you're a mature applicant and you have completed, for example, a QQI level 5, and a QQI level 6, for example, in the area of social care or early childhood care, it may be possible that you're eligible for advanced progression and you may apply through CAO for that. Now, we have all of our courses up on CAO where there is advanced progression. Have a look at them. And if there's anything you'd like to talk to us about, give us a shout and we'll be able to guide you through the process. It's very, very straightforward. And sometimes applicants will find they're not quite sure if they're eligible for year 1 or year 2. And the fact that we've put this up in CAO, it means you can apply for year 1 and year 2 at the same time. So any place you feel you're eligible, put it down. I will be happy to review it from there for you. Okay, so how will the application be processed by us? Well, depending on the type of mature applicant you are. the first thing we do is if you don't have a leaving certificate or if you don't have a QQI or prior qualifications, we will invite you in to do a written assessment. Now, when I say a written assessment, sometimes people say, oh, I don't think I'd like doing a written assessment. We've actually run it online in the last 2 years because of COVID, and it's been really, really successful. It's very straightforward. It consists of 2 pieces of reading material where you do multiple choice questions. The next one is a very simple numeracy question. And for those then that are applying for any of the following areas, any course in the area of science or computing or engineering or informatics, any of those, they must do an additional maths test, okay? So information on that is available on our website at the following, https. The website I've mentioned here is under information for current students and registration for mature assessment and registration mature students. So have a look at that and just see how you fare out with it. As I say, it's very, very straightforward. That would be for applicants who would not have any other qualifications. Now, as I mentioned already, we would find that mature applicants would have a number of qualifications. You might have leaving cert or QQI, or we might call you for an interview, or we'd ask you to submit a portfolio. For example, the interview would be for the BA in counselling, and the submission of portfolio would be for the BA in animation at level 7 and level 8. So there are lots of different ways that you may be considered. Again, if you're not sure, give us a shout here and we will be more than happy to walk you through it. I think the most important thing for the moment is to get all your details up in CAO and we can talk again after that. Now, people also ask, are there any other ways that you can be processed? Do you have to go through CAO? Now, I've just mentioned a few of the courses here, but we do have a number of areas of direct entry. We have the Higher Certificate in Computer Systems Networking, which is a 2-year higher certificate course. We're also currently developing a mechanical and manufacturing engineering course. This will be on the CAO for next year, and it'll be MT834, but it's currently being developed. Now, this is a very new and very exciting engineering course, and it is basically a 4-year honours level 8, and 2 years will be on the workplace and 2 years will be in the college environment. But while you're working, you're studying, and while you're studying, you're working. So it's a very novel way. It's really set up for people who are interested in teamwork, projects, using immersive technologies such as virtual and augmented reality. So we're very excited about this program. It's brand new. Now, there are other direct entry programs that I haven't mentioned here, but we would certainly be happy to talk to you about them. We offer things like, for example, trainee management in hotels, and we also offer a wide range of apprenticeships in engineering and culinary skills. So we're constantly updating and constantly adding to our list of programs. So keep checking the website for new details and watching social media. So the application dates, okay, the application dates will be as follows. So the first application would be, as I mentioned already, the CAO on the early bird is the 20th of January, and that is at 5 o'clock. Now I'll have to apologize because I put in 5:15, but CAO have now changed their date to their time to 5 p.m. Okay, so that's €35. The normal closing time is the 1st of February at 5 p.m. and that's €45. CAO then closes and reopens on the 5th of March and that's €60. So it doesn't matter to CAO it doesn't matter to us whether you apply early or later, and we will process you in exactly the same way. Now, all of the offers then for matures are generally made in early July, and that will be usually around the 4th or 5th of July each year. However, if there are more places available after that, they will become available in early August or in subsequent rounds after that. So because you may not get an offer the first time, all is not lost. You may not be considered as a mature, but it's very, very possible that you may be considered with your post-leaving cert or your QQI or with your leaving certificate. So there are a number of options. Now, the student fees, I mentioned already that I'm going to let all of this side of it. Val is going to be talking about all of this side of it, but just to advise you that all students have to pay a fee of €3,000 per year unless they get the SUSI grant. Everybody is entitled to the student tuition fee. So there are two types of fees that you have to pay: the student contribution and the tuition. The tuition fee is free for everybody unless you do not meet the criteria. Now, there's an excellent website called www.studentfinances.ie, and you can find further information here on this in relation to the criteria. Criteria would include things like, if you've been in college before, it's possible that you'll be liable for tuition fees. What's your status in Ireland? Are you in EU or non-EU? It will depend on all of those things, and the rate of fees then will depend on the applicant type. For people that are everybody pays the 3,000, but if you're eligible for SUSI, you can apply. It opens in April each year, and it's www.susi.ie. And again, Val will give you more details on this. But if you just want to go in and have a look at the website, as I mentioned, is www.susi.ie, and you can go in and have a look at the website from there, and you'll be able to browse around and see what's applicable to you. It's a very, very good website and very self-explanatory, so do have a look at that. Okay, we would absolutely love if you considered us here in the Kerry campus, and we would love to see you putting us down on your list of preferences. We're a small college, we're a small campus, but we're a really good, friendly campus, and we have a good intake of matures every year across all disciplines. So we are always very, very welcoming to matures. If you're interested, and you want to find out more information, you can email us at admissionskerry@mtu.ie. Look at our website, which is www.it3.ie/admissions. And just to mention there, our MTU website is being worked on, and this is why we're still using the IT3 one. Or alternatively, give us a call on 066 71 45638, or drop into the office. We're here every day from 9 until 1 and 2 to 5, and we will be really, really happy to talk to you. So with that, and if you want to contact our colleagues in the Cork office, you can contact them for Cork entry admissionscork@mtu.ie, or alternatively, look at their website on www.cit.ie/admissions. I just want to thank you for listening to us here. I hope that we've been of some help to you, and now we'll just look at the questions and answers, or the questions. Okay, so at this moment in time, there are no open questions. So I just hope that I've covered enough information. If there's anything that you will think about in the meantime, just put it in to the QA, and I'll answer them as we're going along. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to give you over to Val, who is a mine of absolutely useless information and all you need to know about everything in relation to finances and fees and grants and everything needed if you're going to be coming to college. We hope we'll see you in September, and the very best of luck with your application. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lucy. I'll be talking about the fees and finances in MTU Kerry Campus and in higher education. But first, we're just going to take a short 5-minute break. Welcome back. My name is Valerie Moore, and as Lucy said, I am the Access Officer here at MTU Kerry Campus. I coordinate supports for mature students, for students with physical, sensory, mental health and significant health conditions, for students from ethnic minority backgrounds, and I also provide guidance on financial supports for students in third level. I'm one of a team of student support services. So as well as access and disability supports, we also have supports for students with learning difference, for students from the traveller community, students from ethnic minority backgrounds. We have mature student peer mentoring support, a campus kids creche, which is on the North Campus, a careers service, the Enabling Transition Service, which offers study skills and supports for students transitioning into third level. We also have a chaplaincy service, counselling, a health centre, societies, clubs, GAA development, financial supports, and the Students' Union, an invaluable resource to all our students and to ourselves. As Lucy said, there are a number of fees in third level. The first I'm going to talk about is a tuition fee, and there is a national free fees initiative. And what this means is that many of our students aren't even aware that there's a tuition fee, nor do they have to pay it. And as Lucy mentioned, www.studentfinance.ie is a page where you can find much more detail on that fee. But generally, to be aware of what the criteria are, the Free Fees Initiative is open to people who are resident in the EU, EEA, UK or Swiss state for 3 of the last 5 years prior to starting college. They also must never have attended third level before. Now, this might cause concern because you may be thinking, well, I have been in third level before, so now am I liable for a tuition fee? So please contact us if that is the case, because as with all schemes, there are some exceptions to the rules. So it's important to find out from the admissions office what your position is with regard to fees if you're concerned that you don't meet the criteria. The other fee that Lucy mentioned is the student contribution charge. Every student is liable for this, and it's €3,000 per year. All students are billed for it, but some students are eligible to have this covered through SUSI, Student Universal Support Ireland, which is the central body that administers and governs the provision of grants to students. Students may be eligible for a fees or a maintenance grant, depending on their circumstances. A third fee at MTU Kerry Campus is the student capitation charge, which is an annual charge of €95. This is not covered by SUSI or by the Free Fees Initiative. I'm going to speak first about students who might be on a social protection payment or a payment from the Department of Social Protection. If you are on a payment with the Department of Social Protection, then you first need to establish if you're allowed to keep that payment while you're in college. The scheme that you're considering is the Back to Education Allowance scheme. It's a Department of Social Protection scheme, which allows students to keep their social welfare while they're in college. For the most part, you must be on your payment for a minimum of 9 months from the day that you start college. You must also meet a specific age requirement. Depending on what your payment is, you're required to be over 18 or over 21. So for mature students who are over 23, age usually is not an issue. Once students have established if they're eligible for their Back to Education allowance by contacting the Department of Social Protection, they then apply to SUSI, where they will be considered for a fees grant only. So if your Back to Education allowance is approved, SUSI will consider your application, but only for a fees grant. They will not consider a maintenance grant. There are some exceptions to this, which I will mention in a couple of minutes. To give you an idea of the payments that are recognised for BTEA, they are the job seekers payments, pharmacist, one-parent family payment, deserted wife's allowance or benefit, widows and widowers or surviving civil partners contributory or non-contributory pension, prisoners' wives' allowances, carers' allowance, blind pension, disability allowance, invalidity pension, incapacity supplement, and illness benefit. As the scheme is always subject to change, it is important to check directly with the Department of Social Protection if your qualifying payment is eligible for 2022-23. If you are a student who's on a one-parent family payment, a disability allowance, or an invalidity pension, or an illness benefit, then you may have a choice. While you still need to be on the payment for 9 months to keep it while you're in college, you may choose to stay on the payment and not go on to the Back to Education allowance. Sometimes the reason why a student may stay on that payment is that when they apply to SUSI, SUSI will consider them for a fees grant and a maintenance grant, whereas a student on Back to Education allowance is considered for a fees grant only. The only reason I'm aware of why a student may go from one of these 4 payments onto Back to Education allowance is in order to keep a rent allowance or a rent supplement. They must be on the Back to Education allowance to be allowed to retain that supplement. Again, this scheme is subject to change, so please do check nearer the time with the Department of Social Protection. Department of Social Protection suggests that students would apply for their Back to Education allowance around the middle of June. Students who are on the Back to Education allowance and who have a dependent child or children are also eligible for an annual cost of education allowance, the total value of which is €500. For students who've been in receipt of the Pandemic Unemployment Payment, the PUP, and starting year 1 of their course this year, they can apply to transfer to a job seeker's payment to access the Back to Education allowance. Again, the 9-month qualifying period is waived for students in this position. It is important to check the up-to-date position on the PUP payment, as again, it is a temporary arrangement in place by government. So please check again nearer the time if this applies to you. For students who are not in receipt of any social welfare payment, they can apply directly to SUSI for a fees grant and a maintenance grant. All grant applications are means tested on you and your partner's or spouse's or parents' income if they're residing in the same household as yourself. If you're a mature student and you're living independently of the family home, and you can prove that you're living independently since October 2021, then you will be considered on your own income only. I strongly recommend that you go to susie.ie and complete their eligibility reckoner, which is on their home page, and it will give you an indication of whether you will be eligible for a grant or not. It is not an application or a confirmation, but it is an indicator. And the eligibility reckoner brings you through a series of questions which will help determine if there's a particular area of the criteria that may cause an issue with regard to getting your grant. With regard to the criteria for SUSI, they have residency and nationality criteria. With regard to residency, it's quite similar to the Free Fees Initiative, and they have 2 types of residency. One is if you're resident in Ireland for 3 of the last 5 years, then you would be considered for a full grant. If you're resident in the EU, but not in Ireland, then you may only be considered for any tuition fees or fees only. For students who are not a resident, for students who are from a non-EU origin, then please check the nationality criteria on the SUSI website. They provide quite detailed information on the types of visas that are recognised for SUSI grants. Also, to be eligible for SUSI, you're required to be attending higher education for the first time. And similar to the Free Fees Initiative, there can be some exceptions to this. So if it isn't your first time attending higher education, I strongly recommend that you make contact with me, and we'll just look at your particular set of circumstances to see if or if not you would be eligible for SUSI. So please don't rule yourself out completely just because it's not your first time attending higher education. You must also be attending an approved full-time course of study, which would be the courses that Lucy has mentioned earlier and all of our CAO courses. You must be progressing in your education. So SUSI does not consider repeat years except in very exceptional circumstances. You will be assessed based on your income. And as I said, if you're residing with parent or parents or your spouse or partner, then their incomes will also be taken into account. The threshold limits are on the SUSI website, and they will also take into account how many dependent children are living in the household and how many other people in the household are in third level already. So just to recap, a mature dependent student is over 23 on the 1st of January of the year of entry, but they're residing with a parent or parents. Mature independent is over 23, but can prove that they've been living independent of the family home since the previous October. SUSI do require quite a bit of evidence to support your application. They open usually in April each year, so I would strongly recommend that you prepare your documentation now. You may need to contact Revenue, and you may need to contact your landlord if you're in rental accommodation, or you also may need to go through some files to prove that you're living independently of the family home since last October. And again, I strongly recommend that you complete the eligibility reckoner. And as Lucy said, if you do have any queries, you could also contact SUSI directly. You also have the option when you complete your CAO application to allow the CAO and SUSI to communicate with each other to gather some of the evidence that you need, if you like, behind the scenes, evidence that's already in your CAO application. So it makes it more convenient for you if you tick that option and allow SUSI to, or allow CAO to share the information that SUSI needs with SUSI. Students who receive a maintenance grant may receive 100%, 75%, 50%, or a 25% rate of grant, which means that a person may receive anything from just under €6,000 per year, or they may receive in the region of 575. It really depends on your income, the number of dependents in your household, and whether you're adjacent or non-adjacent. So if you're under 45 kilometres from the campus, you would get an adjacent rate, which is a lower rate. And if you're over 45 kilometres, you should qualify for the non-adjacent rate. Students in receipt of a maintenance grant will have that maintenance grant paid into their student bank account, usually in 9 monthly instalments. That's assuming that your SUSI application has been approved in time for their first payment, which takes place in October. But if it hasn't been approved in time for October, you will get any payments that are due to you in the following month. But again, as I can't stress enough the importance of applying early in April. While it may seem very early to be doing an application, and you may not be 100% sure of your intentions for September, you can always cancel or withdraw the application if you're not pursuing your offer of a place in college. For students who have an income of below €24,500 a year, and who have and their income, their reckonable income includes a social welfare payment, an eligible social welfare payment at the 31st of December, they would be eligible for the special rate of grant. This is the highest rate of grant, and it's almost €6,000 a year of maintenance, plus 3,000 student contribution charge. Some students may only be eligible for the student contribution charge. That's because of their income or because they're on back to education allowance. And based on income, some students may be eligible for half the student contribution charge. So instead of 3,000, they may be eligible for 1,500. There's also a scheme for students who are asylum seekers. It is operated by the Department of Education, and it is a student grant scheme for asylum seekers. To be eligible for this scheme, students must have a combined period of 3 years or more in the protection process or leave to remain, but not at deportation order stage, as at the 31st of August 2022. This is for students entering this September. They must have been accepted on an approved PLC or undergraduate course, and they must have secured a course through the CAO. Further information on this scheme is available at education.ie. At MTU Kerry Campus, we offer a sanctuary scholarship to a person from an asylum-seeking or refugee background. This scholarship is also open to applications from migrants who have exceptional stamp 4s or stamp 3s and who do not qualify for other financial support. The successful applicant will be eligible for a tuition fee, student contribution charge, and student capitation charge waiver for the duration of their course, or until such time as they meet the eligibility criteria for any of the previously mentioned schemes, such as the Free Fees Initiative or the SUSI grant scheme. Applications will be opening later this semester, and more information is available at www.mtu.ie/access or by emailing the Access Office at accesskerry@mtu.ie. To be eligible for a sanctuary scholarship, you must not be eligible for the Free Fees Initiative, the SUSI grant, or the grant scheme for asylum seekers. You must be pursuing a full-time undergraduate course in the Kerry campus. You must also meet the academic eligibility criteria for your course at MTU Kerry Campus. You must be living in the Republic of Ireland, and you must also be able to commute to and from the campus, as the scholarship does not include accommodation. The 1916 bursary is to encourage participation by students experiencing socioeconomic disadvantage. To be eligible, students must be in receipt of a means-tested social welfare payment or the special rate of SUSI grant. The scheme particularly prioritises students with physical or mobility or sensory disabilities. Students must be pursuing an undergraduate course and be progressing to higher education for the first time. In 2021, we offered 3 tiers. Students were eligible either for €5,000 a year for the full duration of their course, for €2,500 a year for the full duration of their course, or for a one-off bursary of €1,500. And the tiers apply to both full and part-time students. At the moment, this scheme is managed by SOAR, which is a partnership of MTU, UCC, Waterford Institute of Technology, and Carlow Institute of Technology. For more information, you can visit www.soarforaccess.ie. The scheme at the moment is in transition, and it is planned that there will be a national scheme for the whole country operated centrally under the auspices of the HEA. This is a work in progress, so it's still to be confirmed if this will be in place for this September. So I do encourage people to please keep an eye on the SOAR website to confirm when the scheme will open and what the application process will be. And also you can contact the Access Office at MTU Kerry if you need further information. Other sources of funding are the Student Assistance Fund. This is a fund that we operate on campus. Every college has this fund. So there's nothing to do about that fund until you've actually registered. And we'll tell you more about that fund at orientation. The fund makes a contribution to student costs that they're unable to meet otherwise, such as living expenses, rent, childcare, transport, books and materials. It is just a contribution and it's to supplement other funds. It's not a sufficient amount that students would live on this alone. Uversity is a a national scheme, scholarship scheme for adult learners. It's an external organisation. They will be opening their applications on the 1st of February this year and closing them on the 25th of March. The Kingdom Education Trust is managed by North East West Kerry Development and South Kerry Development Partnership. And this is a trust fund that again offers a small contribution to students who are struggling with the cost of third level education. Cara Credit Union also offer a scheme for their members for undergraduate and postgraduate. The undergraduate scheme is basically a draw, like a raffle, and their members can subscribe to this online, usually between August and the end of September. Some students also may need additional support, and the St. Vincent de Paul has an education trust to which students may also apply. For more information on any of these schemes, please visit mtu.ie/Kerry Grants and Finance. This is a web page that's managed by the Access Office, and we update it regularly with any new information that we receive about bursaries for students. You will see that the Kingdom Trust and the Cara Credit Union are very much local to Tralee. So it's important to check in your own local area. If you're not, sorry, I should say local to Kerry, not just to Tralee. If you're not from Kerry, do please check with your own local partnerships to see if they have schemes in place, and your own local financial institutions to see have they got schemes in place to support students. I'd just like to finish with a few words about supports for students with disabilities and learning difference. When you're applying through the CAO, you do have the opportunity to indicate on your application if you have a medical condition or a disability or a health condition. You can tick a box on your CAO, and you can then complete supplementary information forms which allow you to disclose information about your medical condition or your disability, and to provide evidence from your consultants. You will also see that there is an option to apply for DARE. This is a disability access route to education. However, this part is not open to mature students. It's for under 23-year-old school leavers. So you may think that providing the supplementary information is of no benefit because you can't actually apply for DARE. However, if you complete those supplementary information forms, they are not only for DARE students, they're for any student with a disability. And therefore, the disability support services in the colleges that you've applied to will be able to see that information. And they can use that information to inform your needs assessment and to apply for funding support if you have needs that require some additional financial support to put in place. We also recommend that when you register in college at MTU Kerry Campus, that you complete our Access, Disability and Learning Support Referral form. This form will be shared with you by the admissions office during registration. If you have any high-level needs, we would recommend that you would contact the Disability Support Services in advance to give us ample time to prepare to ensure that your supports are in place. For example, if you require personal supports, such as personal assistance or sign language interpreting service, then we would recommend that you make contact in advance. Just to give you a snapshot of other mature student supports, each year we offer mature student orientation. This is usually a half-day orientation dedicated to mature students. There is also a first-year orientation for all students, but mature student orientation is dedicated to mature students, by mature students, and for mature students. And the star of the show are our mature student peer mentors. Our mature student peer mentors are students in second, third, fourth, possibly postgraduate students who have volunteered their time to help the new mature students transition into higher education by sharing their knowledge and their experience as students. We also have a mature student society, and each year the admissions office coordinates a Head Start Maths program and a Head Start academic and writing and IT program. These usually take place in late August or early September before you start college. I mentioned earlier as well that we have a study skills and enabling transition support, which is a series of workshops and one-to-one sessions following on from the Head Start programs to support students throughout their academic studies. We also have a government laptop loan scheme whereby a student can apply to borrow a laptop for the duration of their studies. This is particularly for access and mature students. And to view all the supports available, please visit mtu.ie Kerry Support Services / Kerry Support Services. Lucy has already gone through preparing for third level, so I'll just touch very quickly as a recap on some of what Lucy has said. The importance of choosing the correct course, and to get help on choosing the course if you have any doubts or if you're struggling to decide what your preferences are. As Lucy said, you're very welcome to please contact the admissions office or to contact the department that offers that course. Or you may like to speak with one of the mature student peer mentors who's studying that course or another student on the course. So by contacting us, we can create these links for you and help you in planning to choose your course. Also, by linking with the college, you will learn more about the academic requirements. So if you do have concerns about your readiness for the course, again, it's good to link in with us and we can help you with any questions you have, or sometimes you might need help with asking those questions. What are the questions to ask? And we're very happy to guide you through that process. Lucy has already mentioned about the application process in great detail, and also for living the student life, you might find it helpful to have a look at the orientation program, which is still online for the students who joined us last September. It sort of gives a little bit of a flavour of student life, and that's available at mtu.ie / Kerry Campus Orientation. As a mature student, you most likely will have other responsibilities. You may have family responsibilities or caring responsibilities, and it's really important that everybody around you is supporting you and is on board with the route that you are taking. So it's important to have those conversations and prepare in advance so that they understand what you need in terms of being able to access college, access your lectures, but also study time and revision time. It's incredibly important to have good IT skills. You don't need to be an expert, but you do need to be very comfortable with Microsoft Word. Little PowerPoint and Excel can be helpful too, with internet browsing and with saving and finding your documents. These are the basic skills, and every student will require these before they start. For students who don't have those skills at the moment, I would recommend that you might look into taking a short course to build those skills, as they are life skills in third level. And also for your finances, it's really good to take some time to budget. Check into the schemes that I have mentioned earlier to see what you are eligible for, so you have a sense of what your finances will be like, and then to do a budget. I also recommend MABS, the Money Advice and Budgeting Service, if you need some help with that. And you can contact MABS through their website, www.mabs.ie. And that's MABS.ie. So I'm going to leave you with our contact details. For information on any of the services or funds that I've discussed, please email accesskerry@mtu.ie. The telephone number is 066 714 5636. And the website is www.mtu.ie Kerry Support Services. My own name again is Valerie Moore. I'm the Access Officer, and my email is valerie.moore@mtu.ie. My direct line is 066 719 1682, and my mobile is 086 368 2453. The information in this presentation is a guide only. I have to reiterate that schemes can change at any time throughout the year. The new SUSI grant scheme is yet to be launched in April. So please regard the presentation as a guide, and please check with each provider nearer the time to ensure that your eligibility is clear. Thank you very much for listening and for joining us this evening, and we will gladly take any questions.
Just something for everybody's attention there. We will be sending out a copy of the presentation to everybody to your email address tomorrow. So hopefully it'll help you recall, because I know we've given you an awful lot of information. So hopefully it will bring out the salient points to you. And as Val said, and I just want to reiterate, you have our phone numbers, and you'll have them in your email tomorrow. Contact us by email or call us, and if you have any queries at all, we'll be absolutely delighted to help you, because I know it can be a daunting task, you know, deciding that you're going to take the plunge and go back into third level. So ask, that's what we're there for, and we'll be very, very happy to help.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more on that, Lucy. I think it's fair to say, in our experience, the students who do the preparation now and ask the questions now have a much smoother ride later on. September can be quite a busy time for students, and it's good to have all the paperwork and all the documentation in order sooner rather than later. So don't be afraid to get cracking on your applications and your queries.
There was one category of mature that I didn't mention there, and I have to apologize for it, and that is the mature nursing applicants. I mentioned there how we would assess applicants as they come in, but the mature nursing applicants are actually assessed differently. And I just want to bring to your attention, if there's anybody out there interested in going nursing, we don't do the assessments. None of the colleges do the assessments. The assessments are actually done through the nursing board. So you not only have to apply to CAO, but you also have to apply to the National Midwifery Nursing Board to register to complete their assessment. Now, I checked on their website today. Their website isn't opened at the moment to register, but is normally opened around the start of February. So make sure that you do keep an eye on their website, so that you will be called for the assessment and will subsequently be considered for the, as being eligible to be considered for a place in nursing. We offer nursing in Tralee, as I mentioned already. We have general and mental health nursing. We have 60 general nursing places and 27 mental health nursing places. And we would normally take about 9 mature general nursing applicants and 7 mature mental health nursing applicants each year. But as I said, we do not do the assessment for that. It is done through the National Midwifery Nursing Board, and that's who you actually need to register with to complete your assessment. The assessment papers are normally available around April, and they will invite you to assessment shortly after that. Like ourselves with the general assessment here in Tralee, they have done it online for the last 2 years because of COVID, and we don't know yet what they're doing this year, but I would imagine with COVID again, it'll probably be an online, but definitely watch their website, www.nmbi.ie, and all the details are on that. It's a very good website, so make sure that you are familiar with it. Okay, is there anybody else that has any question or anything they need clarified or anything at the moment? Our Q&A is still open if anybody would like to put anything in there. Okay, well, hopefully we've given you food for thought. And when we send you out the presentation tomorrow, oh, I just see one query is just after coming in. Good. Do we do any courses in the area of psychology? We don't really. The nearest thing to that would be the BA in counselling, but we don't do psychology per se, I'm afraid.
Yes, I think somebody else would like to ask a question.
Of course. Yeah, one of our questions here is just wondering who I am. I often ask myself that. I think my middle name is Jack of all trades, but officially I'm the admissions officer here in the college. So, you know, I deal with all things admissions in relation to new students, continuing students, part-time students who are doing access programs, and repeat and attend. That would be generally my role, that I'd look after anybody coming into the college. Okay, sir. If anybody
no
else...
open questions at the moment, Lucy. Hang on.
Okay.
Just...
Okay.
No, just a thank you.
Okay. Well,
you're very welcome.
It was lovely to have everybody on tonight. And I suppose on behalf of us here, we want to thank all of you for attending.